deepest and warmest thanks to Meredith and Eliza for sitting on the school committee. Meredith for 3 years and Eliza for 2, right?
2.5.
2.5.
Yes.
Yeah, it's been a long term.
Yes.
And you've both contributed a great deal to our discussions and gave up many hours of your personal time to be here with us, and we really appreciated it.
I'm sure this is not the last time I'll be volunteering.
Oh, I hope not. And Eliza, I hope you will further your civic duties at college.
Thank you. I hope to as well.
Right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it seems like it's part of what you do. Yeah. So we have gifts. Yes. Where are they?
So right over.
We have certificates of thanks. Just pass it over to you, and I'm like, what did she do? That's the whole.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for always showing up.
I didn't know which one.
And I missed you yesterday. Where were you?
Oh, I was in the Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. So we do appreciate all of the work that you guys put into this committee. And we're gonna miss you, Eliza.
Thank you. I'm gonna miss you guys too.
Like, perspectives, it's so nice to have different people's perspectives come on to the committee so that, you know, we're diverse in a group, because you learn new things from other people. I learned a lot from Meredith. Yeah, thank you. I learned a lot from Eliza, student perspective.
Thank you.
Yeah, so thank you. I was also going to go over the survey results, correct? The survey that we did for our goals. So, do you have that in your file?
Yes.
And,
Those were,
okay, you have them in your file? Okay.
Those were interesting.
They were interesting. So, the first question, whom does the school committee represent? And the vast majority said everyone, school staff, community at large, students, taxpayers, and everyone, 64% said all of the above. That's not actually accurate.
Well, a little more teaching and sharing.
Right?
And the correct answer is?
And the correct answer is the students. Number 2.
Silence in the audience.
Right? If you have anything to add. What does the school committee govern? Check all that apply. So, we have day-to-day operations, staff conduct, budget, policy, scheduling, facilities, hire and evaluate the superintendent, and curriculum. And people clicked on all of these, all of them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the school committee governs the budget, policy, and hiring and evaluating the superintendent. We don't have anything to do with day-to-day operations, staff conduct, scheduling facilities, or curriculum.
And it is good to note that the majority ones, the top 3 were the correct 3.
Yes, they were.
That's good. I think the door might be locked.
Oh, so
What?
I think
door's
the
locked
door's
downstairs, so he's signaling he can't
it is?
get in.
Oh.
So we might have public, they just couldn't get in.
Oh, and Christine. I saw
he's
Christine.
Oh, wait.
Okay, should I pause a moment?
Yeah, we might as well pause a
Yeah, we
moment.
should pause. Make sure we,
Locked up in front, some people out there waiting.
oh dear.
Okay, something going down very fast.
Some people waiting down there?
Boy.
A little
Okay.
snafu with doors and locks and everything else, so. I guess in the
They
meantime,
missed
we
my
can
whole
go
ceremony.
through,
Working on
go
these
through our warrants.
Wait, do you want me to do that? Warrants on the table to approve, but we're still doing this. And then the line item transfers we'll come back to. We apologize. We did not know it was locked. It was locked when we got here too. Was there more people out there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Not a large group, right? Oh, okay. So we took the time to thank Meredith and Eliza because they are done with their term. Meredith is done and Eliza will be graduating. And Eliza's with us for 2.5 years.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's wonderful. I could try to get a photo.
Yeah, would you? You want to go, you too?
Yeah.
Yeah, take your flowers. Take your flowers. Okay, get a nice photo. Yeah.
Okay.
Heather, do you want to be in the photo too?
Yeah,
Don't like photos of myself. I don't know why, I just don't.
Not a photo op person.
Not really.
take care of the photo.
Oh, look at how cute. We apologize. We apologize. I'm sorry. We had no idea. I love your tie. I do.
Thank you.
Excellent. Okay, shall we go back to the survey?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Okay. Where did it go? No, I have it. It's just that mine closes
Should
down.
we start again?
You want me
with
to start the survey again?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, we're gonna restart the survey. So we're going over the survey that we sent out to the parents to get a gauge for what people think of the school committee. The school committees does our relationship with the town. So the first question in the survey was, whom does the school committee represent? And we had school staff, community at large, students, taxpayers, and all of the above. And 64% had checked off all of the above. And in reality, the school committee represents the students. What does the school committee govern? Check all that apply. Day-to-day operations, staff conduct, budget, policy, scheduling, facilities, hire and evaluate the superintendent, and curriculum. And all of them were checked off to a degree. The lowest one was scheduling facilities. However, the school committee oversees the budget, policy, and hiring and evaluating the superintendent. What is the best way to communicate with the school committee? Check all that apply. Social media, email, public comment, out and about in town, in the grocery store, through the superintendent. All were checked off. Email with the highest percentage of 77, and that is the correct answer. Although public comment as well, we just, public comment, well, that's another question. What is the school committee's role during public comment? Check all that apply. Listen, answer questions, debate, take notes. Listen was, almost 90% of the participants answered that. They were all checked off. But the correct answer is to listen and take notes so that if we want to look into a question or a topic, we can take notes and then come back to it at a later meeting, correct? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, who can speak on behalf of the school committee? Check all that apply. Anyone. School committee chair, superintendent, school committee members. All were checked off to a degree. School committee members was checked off at 60%, and the school committee chair at 79%. The school committee chair is the correct answer. The school committee chair is the only one that can speak on behalf of the school committee, and that is in this setting, and if the school committee deems it appropriate in other settings. The school committee meeting is a meeting of the school committee held in public, not a public meeting. True or false? So we had 56% say true and 43% say false. And the correct answer is true. It is a meeting of the school committee held in public, but not a public meeting, which means that we are doing all of our work business in a public setting so that we are transparent. But it is not for the public to participate in every meeting other than during the public comment portions. So the best way to get in touch with the school committee is via email. And all of our emails are located on the school website under school committee on the main page, and all of our emails are listed there. So, thank you. We have a public comment section right now. Do we have any public comment? Okay. We have warrants on the table and line item transfers to approve.
So the line item transfer this evening is from the Turkey Hill Elementary School, taking from the band music supplies line, transferring to the special education instructional line in the amount of $400. And the purpose would be to purchase a sensory pathway for the students to use for motor breaks in the hallway. At this point, the music teacher has made the purchases that he feels are necessary for the school year, so these funds are remaining. This is a particular tool that some of our students can take advantage of, and it does work to minimize some of the behavior issues that can ensue when students don't have an opportunity to have a productive motor break. Secondarily, we have an invoice for rent of the Passios Room 2 and 3. The purpose of this particular memo is to transfer $3,000 for the lease of the Passios space. This is part of our Birth to 8 program that's grant funded.
Okay.
So it's, exactly. So this is actually grant funded, so we would be approving the transfer from the grant monies to payment transfer over to the town for the rent of the space. And that's all I have for transfers this evening.
Anyone have any questions in regard to the line item transfers?
No.
No?
Take a motion.
I'll move to accept the line item transfers as described.
I can second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We don't have minutes, do we?
We do not,
I didn't
with the
think
quick
so.
turnaround
Yeah.
Yes.
from meeting a
Okay,
week
so-
ago.
Next time. Superintendent's report?
Very brief this evening. I just want to remind everybody that our meet and greet and the introduction to the school committee of Mrs. Christina Gerton, the new primary school principal, has been rescheduled for Wednesday evening, May 22nd at 6:15 at the middle high school collaboration room. I also want to give an update that today was day 8 of 8 workshop days, part of the new superintendent induction program. We were informed today that in year 2, there will be 6 workshop days, and those dates have been scheduled. And lastly, I just wanted to make everyone aware that there will be childcare available at the town meeting this Saturday. Childcare will be available between 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. However, this is not a drop-off, drop-in kind of setup. Registration is required so that we have emergency contact information and such. The registration form can be found on the Lunenburg Public Schools website.
And that's for people actually going to town meeting.
To town meeting.
Correct?
Correct.
It's not just an open invite, drop your kid off, have a
Correct.
nice day. Okay.
Good clarification.
Yes, I just wanted to make sure that people are dropping their children off so they can attend town meeting. Just down the hall. Unfortunately, I don't think 1 o'clock is gonna make the whole meeting.
I would tend to
Just-
agree.
Putting that out there. Okay, student representatives, last report.
I have a lot to report tonight. The schools are all very busy wrapping up the year. At the primary school, the second annual Mother and Son Dance for grades K through 5 is on Saturday, May 11th. It will be at the Great Wolf Lodge Ballroom, and tickets are $14 per person.
And they need to purchase those ahead of time. right?
Yes.
They are not at the door.
Yes, and you can find that online.
Yeah.
Upcoming field trips for the primary school. On May 10th, the first grade is going to Mechanics Hall. On May 23rd, the second grade is taking a trip to the Ecotarium. And on May 30th, kindergarten is taking a trip to Davis Farmland. At the Turkey Hill Elementary School, Math MCAS started this week and runs into next week. The Science MCAS is the following week. At the middle school, Settlers Crossing in Lunenburg is putting together a high school summer league for all male and female 7th through 12th grade golfers in area high schools. It begins Saturday, May 4th and ends Saturday, August 17th. Golf takes place every Saturday at 3 p.m. and you can find more information on the Lunenburg website, or the Lunenburg Public Schools website. There will be a chorus concert for middle school May 23rd from 6 to 7 and a band concert from 7:30 to 8:30. At the high school, there's so much going on as we wrap up the year. The National Honor Society had a blood drive today that ran very smoothly. I don't know the number of ounces of blood we collected, but I think we get that reported back to us. But I think a lot of people signed up. It was busy all day. Students were able to volunteer and help out during that. Annie Jr., the musical, is May 10th and May 11th. Shows begin at 7 p.m. and tickets are $10. Penny Wars is continuing this week. I believe it is the last week. Soldiers Angels games are this week. We are continuing to sell shirts to raise money for our troops. Shirts will also be sold at the town meeting this Saturday.
That's a good idea.
Prom tickets are being sold the last 2 days to buy your tickets are tomorrow and Friday, so buy your prom tickets. Prom is May 18th at the Colonial Inn. Thursday, May 16th is the Senior Department Awards at 8:15 a.m. Friday, May 17th, there's a Music and Art Exposition, which is an art exhibit followed by a concert at 7. That concert is formerly known as POPs. AP exams are ongoing from May 6th through May 17th. And lastly, come support Lunenburg High School's World Hunger Task Force in fighting hunger and poverty in our local community and around the world. Go to Moe's in Leominster, Moe's Southwest Grill, Friday, May 3rd from 4 to 8 p.m.
Do you need that flyer?
I believe you do need the
You
flyer.
do need that flyer, right?
I
Where
think you
can we
do.
find that flyer?
Ooh, honestly, I don't know. Probably online, I would think.
I would
Can we
think so.
check? Yeah?
On the high school website, probably.
Okay. I know I saw it somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not-
remember.
Did, and I don't know if it was in his email, and then I
It was an
clicked on
email
it.
from
From the principal, probably.
principal, I think. On the 2-week look ahead.
Are we reading these?
Probably.
Came out April 26th, so if you,
Pass them around.
obviously, if you get those.
Yeah.
Could we find a way to get that?
The flyer?
Yeah. I don't know. If someone were to access it, could it be put up on the district website?
Sure. Yep.
Yeah, that would be great.
Just that way, anybody who doesn't get, who doesn't have a child at high school and didn't get that look-ahead email with it, would be able to go and.
Okay.
Yep.
That's all.
That's it?
That is it.
Thanks, Eliza.
You're welcome.
We have a slew of resolutions. Okay. We're gonna do that second, or should we do that now?
We take them out of order.
We can take them out of order, right? Do the resolutions and then do first reading of the policies?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna share them though, because look at how many there are to read.
So I'll
So we're all reading.
So, yeah, we're all gonna read some.
I'll read one.
Excellent.
Here.
Good job there.
So you get what you get there?
Here we go.
You get what you get.
Oh, let's see. All right, that one's not too bad.
Are you gonna stay?
Stay, or are you gonna leave?
You
You
wanna
want
stay?
one?
Read
I'll
one?
say.
You want one?
You want to read a resolution?
Here, read a resolution. Your last meeting.
All right, I have no
Oh, look,
idea what you got.
Lunch here.
I don't know what these are.
Okay, so, who has Administrative Professionals Day?
I do.
Oh, good.
Whereas Administrative Professionals Day was created in 1952 to recognize the significance of the profession and acknowledge the importance and value of the position to America's companies, businesses, and institutions, both large and small, including public schools. And whereas administrative professionals in Lunenburg Public Schools play key roles, bear many responsibilities, and are crucial to the efficient functioning and smooth running of day-to-day operations as they assist educators, principals, students, and parents. And whereas Administrative Professionals Day is being observed nationwide this year on April 24th, 2019, therefore be it resolved that the United Federation of Teachers encourage all of its members to thank their administrative professionals and celebrate the exemplary work of administrative professionals on that day. Signed by the chair of Lunenburg School Committee and attested by Dr. Burnham. Superintendent.
National Principals Day.
That's me.
Oh, you got the long one.
I do have the long one. Yes. That's okay. All right. National Principals Day Resolution. Whereas the vision, dedication, and determination of a principal provides the mobilizing force behind any school reform effort. Whereas principals are expected to be educational visionaries, instructional leaders, assessment experts, disciplinarians, community builders, public relation experts, budget analysts, facility managers, special program administrators, and guardians of various legal, contractual, and policy mandates and initiatives, as well as being entrusted with the education and development of young people, the most valuable resource. Whereas principals will play a vital role in successful implementation of the Every Student Succeeds Act. Whereas principals set the academic tone for their schools and work collaboratively with teachers to develop and maintain high curriculum standards, develop mission statements, and set performance goals and objectives for schools to achieve educational excellence. Whereas the Lunenburg School Committee honors such exemplary elementary, middle, and high school level public school leaders committed to serving students from pre-kindergarten to grade 12 in their profession. Whereas the Lunenburg School Committee recognizes outstanding elementary, middle, and high school level who have succeeded in providing high-quality learning opportunities for students, as well as their exemplary contributions to the profession. Whereas to honor and recognize the contribution of all school principals and assistant principals at all grade levels to the success of students in Lunenburg, and to encourage residents of Lunenburg to observe National Principals Day with appropriate ceremonies and activities that promote awareness of school leadership's role in ensuring that every child has access to high-quality education. Be it resolved, in honor of the service of all elementary, middle level, and high school principals, and to recognize the importance of their school leadership so that every child has access to the high-quality education, and to celebrate school leader accomplishments, the day of May 1st is hereby designated in Lunenburg to be National Principals Day. Signed, Chair, Lunenburg School Committee, attested by Kate Burnham, Superintendent of Schools.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I have the National School Lunch Hero Day. Official proclamation. Whereas nutritious meals at school are an essential part of the school day, and whereas the staff of the district school meals and nutrition department are committed to providing healthful, nutritious meals to the district's children, and whereas the men and women who prepare and serve school meals help nurture our children through their daily interaction and support, and whereas the day of Friday, May 3rd, 2019 is School Lunch Hero Day. Now therefore be it resolved that Lunenburg School District expresses its deep appreciation to those valuable employees and commends their good work on behalf of children. Signed, Lunenburg School Chair and Dr. Kate Burnham. And the next one is National Teacher Appreciation Day.
I've got that one. National Teacher Appreciation Week Resolution. Whereas teachers mold future citizens through guidance and education, and whereas teachers encounter students of widely differing backgrounds, and whereas our country's future depends on providing quality education to all students, and whereas teachers spend countless hours preparing lessons, evaluating progress, counseling and coaching students, and performing community service, and whereas our community recognizes and supports its teachers in educating the children of this community. Now therefore be it resolved that the Lunenburg School Committee proclaims May 6th through 10th, 2019 to be Teacher Appreciation Week, and be it further resolved that the Lunenburg School Committee strongly encourages all members of our community to join with it in personally expressing appreciation to our teachers for their dedication and devotion to their work. Adopted this first day of May 2019, signed the Chair of the Lunenburg School Committee and Superintendent Burnham.
National School Nurses Day.
School Nurses Day Resolution. Whereas children today face more complex and life-threatening health problems requiring care in school, and whereas school nurses support the health and educational success of children and youth by providing access to care when children's cognitive development is at its peak, And whereas school nurses are members of school-based mental health teams, and whereas school nurses understand the link between health and learning and are in a position to make a positive difference for children every day. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Lunenburg School Committee celebrates and acknowledges the accomplishments of school nurses and their efforts of meeting the needs of today's students by improving the delivery of health care in our schools, and offers gratitude for the district school nurses who contribute to our local communities by helping students stay healthy, in school, and ready to learn. Be it further resolved that the Lunenburg School Committee proclaims May 8th, 2019 to be School Nurses Day and strongly encourages all members of our community to join with it in personally expressing appreciation to our nurses for their dedication and devotion to their work. Adopted this first day of May 2019, signed by the Chair, Lunenburg School Committee, and Kate Burnham, Superintendent.
National Police Officers Week.
National Police Week, May 13 through May 17, 2019. In 1962, President Kennedy proclaimed May 15th as National Peace Officers Memorial Day, and the calendar week in which May 15 falls as National Police Week. And whereas the members of the law enforcement agency of the town of Lunenburg play an important role in safeguarding the rights and freedoms of the citizens of our community, and whereas it is important that all citizens know and understand the problems, duties, and responsibilities of their police department, and that members of our department recognize their duty to serve the people by safeguarding life and property, protecting them against violence or disorder, and protecting the innocent against deception, and the weak against oppression or intimidation. And whereas our police department has grown to be a modern and scientific law enforcement agency which unceasingly provides a vital public service. Therefore, the Lunenburg School Committee urge our citizens to join in commemorating law enforcement officers, past and present, who by their faithful and loyal devotion to their communities have established for themselves the rights and security of all citizens. Now, therefore, the Lunenburg School Committee do hereby proclaim the week of May 13 through 17, 2019 as National Police Week in the town of Lunenburg. Passed this day, the first day of May 2019. Signed, Chair, School Committee, attested by Superintendent of Schools, Kate Burnham.
Thank you. And now on to the first reading of the policy.
One point of order.
Go ahead.
I think we might have skipped public comment because of the confusion with the
anybody
door.
here?
There wasn't anyone.
No, there was. She asked.
Okay, okay. You asked?
I
Okay.
think she did.
All right.
But,
Right, correct? I did?
Okay. Yeah, I'm satisfied.
I don't know if we need to make a motion for you
Thank you,
to,
guys. It's been my pleasure.
thank you.
Seriously.
We'll see you.
Yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Additional.
I don't know if we need to make a motion for you to sign those.
Oh,
It's under action, so I'm assuming that we need to take an action.
okay.
So I'll
take a
move that we allow this chair to sign these resolutions that were just read.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
First reading of policies. Let me just look up the names. 1201 is community use of school facilities. General rules. Where is, okay, seriously?
You want me to do it?
Yeah, 1104, what is the title?
1104
It's first reading.
is news media relations and news releases.
1105,
1105 is school community relations. Actually, that's.
and 1106. Wait.
And yes, and 1105 is actually public's right to know, and
Looks like
Well,
it's getting
it-
renumbered.
yes, I'm sorry.
There's a
We
renumbering.
went to 11.1 from the,
Which one?
1105 is changing to 1101.1.
Oh.
yes, which, and 1106 is changed to 1105.
Okay, that's the, no, but I still don't have it in order. Okay.
And you know I have questions.
Yes, what are your questions? If I can just find them in my drawing. Which one?
Currently 1104.
1104, let me see if I can find it.
So this is the news media relations,
Okay.
news relation.
Okay.
I'm fine until I'm questioning the striking of number 3, which is that news releases of concern to only one school or an organization of one school or responsibility of the principal of that particular school. It doesn't, the other two, school committee chairs for the school committee, news releases that are town-wide or sensitive nature by the superintendent, but what of news releases relative to the schools? For example, water main breaks, bears, things like that, where we've actually had some things that we've had to communicate outward. Would that not be school building specific, and where would that come from?
I see that as communication relative to the functioning of the school on any
Yeah.
given day, communicating with parents versus news releases,
So,
media news releases.
so the thought is, in this statement, you know, other staff members being in there, it really should, when we have this discussion, be the superintendent who's putting out formal news releases versus a communication to parents, you know, will be getting out, you know, school will be dismissing early. In a public statement like that, the superintendent would also be privy to all information.
Right.
And also just ensuring that there's one line of communication versus many who might.
So the intent is to consolidate the communication to the media
Yes.
to one,
Right, so possibly
Organization,
different,
one path.
different information isn't shared.
okay.
Right.
What clear information is shared if multiple folks were, who were staff members were, you know, speaking with the media for any reason, what they were privy to with information may not be all that's there. And then there could potentially be conflicting information that goes out. Just want to make sure it's all.
I understand that and agree with that rationale.
Okay.
And then
What's the other one?
the new 1101, which was 1105.
Yep.
I would like to understand why we would be striking special publications from public schools may be issued for information of parents and the public from time to time. For example, just today I received something about a dementia-friendly flyer. Is that not a special publication? And why would we strike that from school community relations? I'm trying to understand the rationale behind this one as well.
I don't think that it's a policy. It didn't need, it just seemed like.
It's more procedural. So
Yeah.
we looked at some of this saying,
It's
is
like
this protocol?
Right.
Just as if there was, the protocol is that, you know, the superintendent might potentially put out information like that, or something that's building centric, that principal would be in charge of. But
Is this really a policy
Is it a
that needs to be written
policy
down?
that has to-
You know what I mean? It's just a vague statement about special publications by the
and
public.
what's a special publication?
Right.
Exactly, it's special. It's undefined, right? It's extraordinary is not ordinary. It's something that's
But does
undefined.
it have to be written in a policy?
Well, and to that effect then, does number 1 need to be written in the policy? Cooperation by the schools with the various news
Right,
media
and
is
this-
encouraged.
and it
We've
was-
already talked about news media in the other
Right.
policy. This one is about school community relations. Doesn't have to do with the media. So I'm wondering, do we even need to list those 3 things if the intent is to encourage the superintendent to
Isn't that why we-
communicate
oh,
with our
that's
community?
I think that's why we renumbered it to 1101. Where's 11?
It's under communications with the public, so.
Right. Where's 1100? Well, we don't have it. The 11.
So I'm just questioning if we're taking one away for that reason, I don't see why we wouldn't take the rest of them away for that same reason.
Well, those,
So,
all the,
well, I would lose, if it
One and
were.
two, I mean-
1 and 2, two is already stricken, but number 1 I think could be stricken.
Yeah.
The new number 2, I think
it's
makes sense.
important.
Yeah.
I think that, so
oh,
what
I
I would
agree,
like.
number 1 could be stricken.
Because isn't that a given?
Right.
Well, it is, especially since we've
Right.
just
Yeah, we just,
talked about that in 11, or 12.
and I think if we
01
pulled up
rather.
1100, it mightn't be in there too.
Right, so we would just leave after the school committee through the superintendent will seek to keep the public informed as to the needs and activities of the school.
And then we don't even
And
need to
then
number it, it just would be.
We
this-
wouldn't need to
it would
number
And then it would just be a
Just
separate sentence, the
paragraph.
superintendent
Or the
or
personnel
personnel designated
designated.
by the superintendent shall be encouraged.
And to me, I think that makes more sense.
I agree.
So does that one need to go back to have that,
That would probably, I think.
because
it
that's
needs
a
to go
big
back,
enough
yeah.
change? Yeah.
So that's 11.
Oh, is it a big enough change?
No, we're gonna strike a whole sentence. It's not just renumbering.
That's true. And then I didn't have any question on 1106, now 1105.
Okay. So I'll take a motion to read, I mean, to waive the first reading of 1201. 11, oh wait.
1101.1,
No, we're not, we're waiving, we're
1105.
waiting, that one's the one that has to come back.
right, so then 1106, so 1201 and 11.
No,
Well, the one that was 1201.
The renumbering is throwing me, we're doing the old number and the new number.
It's the renumbering because it's on here.
It's
as
the one
old
that's
number.
marked as 1105 on the agenda that we would remove
So-
from this
So
list.
that-
1201, 1105.
No,
No, 1104.
And 1106.
1106.
The-
So-
Oh, the old numbers, you're using
Right.
the old numbers.
That's how.
That's
we
what it's
sit
referenced on the
Should
agenda.
have
Agenda.
both of them listed on the agenda.
So,
we know which
yeah, we
one
should
is
probably put the new one in parentheses or something.
new and old.
So for the old policies, I'll make a motion to waive first reading on 1201, 1104, old numbering, and 1106, old numbering.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then these will be on the website 48 hours?
Ish.
Okay. And now, old business is the third reading of policies 1202. I gotta find these.
I
12.
can read 1202 if you'd
Well, I
like.
just gotta find them. I don't see them in my packet. Like they're,
They
You
should
have
be
an
there.
OBA?
I know they were.
Oh,
They're there, they're just
already
further
read
down.
it For a long read.
1202, who's reading? I got it.
Policy 1202 is regulations governing the use of
Oh my
school
goodness.
facilities.
That's a
It's 4
long
pages.
Do you want to split that up?
Yeah,
at some point?
let's go
Yeah,
page
because
by
that was
page.
really long last.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a 6-pager, it looks like, or 5.
yeah, I think,
No, we could just start at the end,
yeah.
That and then just,
All right, we'll start at this
Continue.
end and
One page at a
one
time.
page at a time.
1202?
1202.
Okay.
Regulations governing the use of school facilities. It is the policy of the Lunenburg School Committee to permit responsible organizations, where the main purpose is to benefit the citizens of Lunenburg, the use of school buildings and athletic fields to the extent that there is no interference with the educational programs. The complete control of school buildings and equipment is by law vested in the school committee, and the administration of the rules and regulations governing the buildings is delegated to the superintendent of schools or his or her designee. Use of school facilities shall be granted within the limits prescribed in Chapter 71, Section 71 of Massachusetts General Law, and acts an amendment or addition thereto. This policy covers all functions or events which are held in the Lunenburg Public Schools after school hours, Monday through Friday, and any time on Saturdays and Sundays. School facilities are not available to private individuals for personal profit. Non-school organizations utilizing the schools are charged custodial fees and costs and fees based upon a schedule approved by the school committee. Priorities for use of school facilities. Use of the school facilities for annual town meeting and for polling is reserved for the town on the first and third Saturdays in May and the first Tuesday in November. During annual town meeting, the school facilities and grounds will not be available for use other than scheduled academic testing. Priorities for use of school facilities, including buildings, playgrounds, and athletic fields, shall be as follows. 1. Lunenburg school activities, extended day, student performances, student athletic events, dances, graduation school council, school committee, etc. 2. Lunenburg community education activities. 3. Lunenburg school support groups, such as PTO, PAXL, etc. 4. Lunenburg town-related and Lunenburg youth sports organizations. 5. Lunenburg youth-related nonprofit organizations such as the Scouts. 6. Lunenburg nonprofit groups. And 7. Other.
Scheduling. Priority. Number 1, Lunenburg Public School activities receive priority over other organizations for the use of buildings and fields. 2, Lunenburg Public Schools administration, faculty, and staff are required to complete applications for the use of their own buildings and fields. Cancellations. Number 1, scheduled activities may be preempted by Lunenburg Public School activities only with the permission of the superintendent of schools and provided a notice of no less than 72 hours is given to the permitted organization. 2. On days when school has been canceled because of emergency conditions, the school buildings and grounds may not be available. However, all scheduled use will automatically be canceled unless the renter contacts the school being rented to confirm the availability of the school. Conditions of use, all facilities. All facilities use requests must be completed online. Contact the Director of Facilities for access to the system. Certificates of insurance, if applicable, must be submitted to the Director of Facilities. Number 1, it is required that all renters obtain and review this policy in its entirety. All renters must sign an acknowledgement form indicating that they have received and reviewed this policy. 2, there are certain restrictions upon the use of school property and the building. The user is solely responsible for the fulfillment of the regulations of the following: A, State Department of Public Safety; B, state and local fire laws; C, state and local police laws; D, Internal Revenue Admission laws; E, state laws relating to the rental of school facilities. 3, organizations, any group or entity excluding the Lunenburg Public Schools, using school buildings or grounds under a permit from the superintendent's office are restricted to the use of the rooms and/or spaces assigned to them. Participants found wandering unsupervised in a school building will be immediately escorted out of the facility. The sponsor of the activity will be notified. 4, organizations using school buildings will use only one designated entry and exit. An adult, an individual over the age of 21, must be present during the entire duration of the activity to monitor and control the entering and exiting of children participating in the activity. Organizations are required to provide adult supervision at the entrance of the facility during the entire duration of the event to ensure the safety of the participants and the facility.
5, specific bathroom facilities will be designated for use and only those bathrooms will be accessible. The organization using the building will be responsible for monitoring these bathrooms. 6, use of tobacco and/or nicotine products, alcohol, marijuana, and any other illicit substances are prohibited on school property. 7, the applicant must be present throughout the time the facilities are being used. The applicant is responsible for the decorum of the group, including spectators. 8, when minors are using a facility, they are required to have supervision on a 1-to-10 ratio basis. At least one adult 21 years or older must be present at all times. 9, food and/or drink are only permitted in cafeteria all-purpose rooms. Eating or drinking in auditoriums or gymnasiums is not permitted. Only prepackaged food and beverages for resale are allowed through the concession stand. 10, any damages sustained to the facility and/or equipment during its use will be considered the responsibility of the renting group. The renting organization will be billed for any repairs needed to restore the facility and/or equipment to its original state. 11, no electrical apparatus should be connected to any lighting system unless it is first inspected and approved by the district-approved auditorium manager or technical staff personnel. 12, in all cases where gymnasiums are used for athletic purposes, participants are required to wear athletic shoes. 13, cleat/turf shoes are not permitted on the track. Participants must not put cleat turf shoes on until they are on the turf field. 14, school kitchens are available only when proper lunchroom employees are employed at an additional expense to supervise and protect the interests of the Lunenburg Public Schools. Applicants must contact the food services director to arrange for the specifics and receive an estimate of the costs. 15, entrance to the property shall be permitted only via the designated entrance for the school in use. All doors to the facility shall remain locked at all times, except that custodial personnel shall unlock main entry doors for entrance by authorized groups as scheduled, 15 minutes before and after scheduled start. Access to facility will be available only as indicated on the approved application form. 17, equipment of the building user, such as scenery and furniture, may not be moved into or out of the building during school hours. 18, anyone utilizing the middle school, high school auditorium must employ school personnel appropriately trained to operate the lighting, curtains, drops, scenery, etc. It is the policy of the Lunenburg Public Schools not to loan materials and equipment to individuals or groups. 19, all vehicles are strictly prohibited from parking in fire lanes. There shall be no double parking. There shall be no parking in handicap designated spaces without proper RMV issued placards or license plates. This will be enforced by the Lunenburg Police Department, and violators are subject to being ticketed and or towed.
There shall be no parking or driving on any school property in conjunction with any function, unless prior approval is granted by the superintendent. Upon approval, a permit will be issued and must be displayed while on school grounds. Any vehicles on school property must be operated by licensed drivers. All non-school or town government-related activities must be completed and the premises vacated by 10 p.m. Personnel. The custodian on duty shall be responsible for the supervision of the building and equipment, safety precautions in the building, cleaning of the building after its use, and for any services required by the renter in accordance with the use of the facilities approved. Custodians have no responsibility to groups other than as described above. Police coverage may be required for a particular activity. The applicant is responsible for making these arrangements and for payment of the same. School facilities are not available for use without a custodian on duty. Advertising. The district is not responsible for advertising non-school events. Any advertising associated must identify by name the sponsoring group. Insurance coverage. The organization shall procure and maintain insurance against claims for injuries or losses to persons or property that are alleged to have arisen in connection with the activities underlying this application of the organization and any agents, representatives, or employees. Insurance companies must be licensed by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts or otherwise acceptable to the school department. The cost of such insurance, including required endorsements or amendments, shall be the sole responsibility of the organization. Full disclosure is required for any non-standard exclusions. A copy of the certificate of insurance with minimum limits of $3 million for general liability, covering bodily injury and property damage combined and personal injury, must be attached to the application and forwarded to the Director of Facilities for review prior to the date of the activity and before final approval for use is granted.
All certificates of insurance must include the town of Lunenburg as additional named insured. Cleanup. 1. Neither the school department nor its custodian on duty assumes any responsibility for liability to the property of the renter. 2. All decorations, furniture, trash, and other materials used shall be removed immediately by the renter after the completion of the function. All decorations must be fire resistant. Changing equipment, electrical adjustments, driving nails, or hanging decorations shall be done only with the consent of the Director of Facilities. At no time shall objects be attached to stage curtains. 3. Lunenburg Public Schools will not be responsible for any material left behind. Such materials will not be saved, and the renting organization will be charged for removal. Costs. 1. Custodial costs are charged to the using organization. 2, fees for building use are established by the school committee on a regular basis. The rental charge for the use of school facilities will be a fixed fee plus expenses for services listed below. All groups will be charged hourly for the custodial, auditorium control booth, or cafeteria services if warranted. 3, costs for trash disposal may be charged to using organization if the event requires dumpster pickup in addition to the regular scheduled pickup period. The building principal and athletic director, in conjunction with the director of facilities, shall have the responsibility for determining the amount of service help necessary for any rental. The final cost for any rental will be determined by multiplying the flat rate per hour by the duration of the rental and adding the cost of service workers required. The time of the custodial services charged will necessarily include the time required to prepare the particular facility for the rental, the time the facility is in use, and finally, the time required to restore the facility for school use following the rental. Do I read all those dates? No?
I don't think
Okay.
so, no. So now the third reading for 1303.3. Let's find it. I will just read that one. Community Relations, 1,000. Gifts and solicitations, 13,000. Advertising, sponsorship, and fundraising, 1303. Fundraising in the schools, 1303.3. Fundraising activities may disrupt school routine and cause loss of instructional time. Fundraising activities shall be restricted solely to school-related organizations, groups, or support school activities. Special fundraising activities such as for scholarship funds or charity projects will be conducted in the schools only with the approval of the superintendent. Crowdfunding is not permitted. Crowdfunding is the practice of funding a project or venture by raising small amounts of money from large numbers of people, typically via the internet. Use of school email by students and staff is not permitted to solicit or promote personal fundraising. Solicitations cannot be sent to or from a district email account. School-related fundraisers may be communicated via school email only with the approval of the superintendent. Fundraising related to athletics, 1303.4. Prior to any fundraising activities, an athletic booster club or other group must obtain approval from the Athletic Advisory Committee. No student athlete will be required to participate in fundraising to be a member of the team. Family caps on fundraising will be established by the Athletic Advisory Council. Families and athletes will not be asked to participate in more than 2 fundraisers per sport per year. Parents, guardians will be provided an option other than direct fundraising for the programs. This limit shall not apply to passive fundraisers such as percentage of restaurant receipts. All fundraising activities with details about the fundraiser will be posted on the school's website. And 3505.
I'll go ahead and read it.
Okay.
Fiscal management and non-instructional operations, 3,000. Buildings and grounds, 3,500. Use of school-owned materials, equipment, or space, 3,505. School space. School facilities are available for rental at published rates. Rates are approved by the school committee. School-owned materials and equipment. School material and equipment purchased for the support of school programs, with the exception of some school-owned materials and equipment, cannot be removed from school grounds except to support official Town of Lunenburg events on town property. Exceptions include district-issued technology/devices and athletic equipment and gear, which can be removed solely for the purpose of competitions. Non-school-owned materials and equipment. Material and equipment purchased for the support of school programs may be temporarily stored on school grounds if space permits, as determined by the Director of Facilities or the Athletic Director and approved by the Superintendent. Lunenburg Public Schools is not obligated to provide space for temporary storage.
Okay. I will take a motion to approve policies 1202, 1303.3, and 3505.
I'll make a motion to approve policies 1202, 1303.3, and 3505 as read.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Oh, public comment. Do we have any comments from our public? No?
We received a public comment relative to the survey via email, no?
That's not a public comment.
That- okay.
That was just for us to read.
Okay.
There's no name or there's no address on the emails. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. So now we have reports, charter review.
Town meeting,
Waiting town meeting,
Saturday.
Saturday. Athletic advisory
We are meeting next Tuesday,
at 6:30.
6:30.
Okay.
Middle high school
Landing
collaboration
on-
rule.
8.
8, sorry. Jeez, I just extended from
Yeah.
Sorry.
And okay. Finance committee.
They met on the 25th of April, and it was a discussion of the warrant articles, also a discussion of how any additional state funds are appropriated. Such procedures could be discussed, they discussed discussing those procedures going towards the end of the summer. So if the state should allocate additional funding, those funds need to be appropriated, and that procedure would be discussed.
Okay.
Okay? And I encourage them, as well as all citizens, to contact the Joint Committee on Education and Governor Baker regarding the foundation budget. And their next meeting is town meeting, of course.
Okay. I'm gonna skip blizzard bags.
Yes.
Wellness advisory, have you met since?
Next week.
Next week, okay. Policy subcommittee is meeting tomorrow morning at 8:30. Which room is that?
I believe that we'll be in the conference room.
The conference.
Middle high school.
Middle high
conference room.
school conference room at 8:30. It's open to the public. The PTO?
Next meeting will be May 13th.
May 13th. School councils, has anyone met?
The elementary school met, at Turkey Hill Elementary School. They had no internet for the MCAS. On Monday or Tuesday. Today, it was supposed to be fixed and come online at 10 o'clock. Everybody was ready to roll. I don't know what happened. So I don't have an update on that, but they were adapting and making do and doing what they needed to do, which was nothing you can do about that right now, and rescheduling. They did raise a little over $5,000 for Kylie's Care Kits.
Oh, that's-
And that is the highest amount any single school has raised for this organization.
That's awesome.
Wow.
So it's wonderful. And they expressed a lot of excitement about continuing with the Literacy Task Force and the training on Reader's Workshop, and we worked on the school improvement plan.
Excellent.
Middle school met yesterday. And if I can read my chicken scratch, we did talk about the budget update and the staffing changes that were going to be taking place as a result, and in addition to the bubble class moving. We talked about the school improvement plan, and the timing of that being changed a little bit to have a draft to us in June, so that we can do some other things to it. Parent and student handbooks we'll be reviewing by next school committee meeting. There's an Alice drill scheduled for this week, which was communicated by Mr. Santry. There are 8 days left for MCAS testing that Eliza already referred to. They are looking at a hybrid approach of how to implement civics into the 8th grade it's a big initiative to get 8th graders involved in civics, and that there's also a possibility from the state that there may be a 4th test for the 8th graders to include civics testing. So that's in addition to the 3 MCAS tests, there may be a 4th test on civics.
Mr. Stevenson alluded to that.
Yeah.
He was
It's-
speaking about
Nothing's been
the
determined yet.
curriculum, social studies curriculum at the high school level.
I thought they used to have a civics in 8th grade when when the 8th graders were at the high school.
That was a very brief.
It was like a half a year.
It was a half a year,
Half
and
a
it
year
was, I
program.
believe, run for 2 years or 1 year. It was
Because I
very
know
brief.
that one of mine took it. when they were
Right, it
in
was
8th grade.
1 year or 2 years. It was no longer
Yeah.
than that.
Well, this
So they're-
shift would come in accordance with the new
New,
framework,
Okay.
the new standards for 8th grade. And again, there's some conversation around a test, whether or not that will be an 8th grade test or high school test at some point.
Right.
We're not sure.
Throw another test on.
Throw another test to
Why
the 8th
not?
graders, why
Let's
not?
have a test.
And then they're looking at some targeted response to intervention activities relative to the social and emotional learning. They've got the behavioral health advisory going. And then they're looking at some specific PD for the teachers. And it will be a survey going out regarding the Genius Hour program, where they'll be seeking feedback from parents and students and faculty. How well does the program work? What can they do to make it different? Should they expand on it? Things like that. So they'll have some feedback for us.
So funny, because I forgot all about it. And my kid's in that school and hasn't said a one word about the Genius Hour.
Well, I think I think the Genius Hour is a great opportunity for kids to
I think it is.
explore their
Yeah.
passions and to really look at the world in a different way. And
Especially ones that
be
have
entrepreneurial.
passions.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, and see if they can find their passion.
Right. And then to encourage those that don't. I think they need a little bit more work on the encouraging those that don't have a passion.
It's a
Well, they're
journey.
It
teenagers
is a
too.
journey. Yes, it's a-
Yeah,
It is a journey.
yeah, just in the grade.
High school is on Tuesday.
Tuesday,
and
okay.
I won't be able to
Oh,
make it, so if
okay.
anybody can make the one on Tuesday.
And primary was last week.
And you give
I
us a
reported, I
report.
gave
Yeah,
you a report
yeah.
last week.
And capital planning, yeah, that's town meeting as well. The capital plan will be voted on at town meeting. So, topics for future discussion, we are gonna have the fundraising on there. To better plan for, multiple fundraisers at the same time. Planning. What else was on there?
And evaluating what's being done and
And how,
what it-
where there's some,
and where those monies,
right, fundraising for what purpose?
yes. And potential, and not potential, and opt-out.
Right. Oh,
Looking
yes,
at
I
options for
love,
folks who want to just
Opt out.
just love opt-outs.
We also wanted to keep alive, so we wouldn't forget, that we wanted to meet with FinCom and the Board of Selectmen
yes.
about
Yes.
funding.
Yes, once, we have the new,
Right.
boards. Okay. And anything else you want on the radar? Anything? Matt, right now? Okay, I'll take a motion.
Motion to adjourn, 8:04 PM.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Meredith.
Thank you,
Thank you again.